Well, welcome everybody. Where's Katie? Katie, is Katie here? Katie? Oh yeah, you, Katie's got raffle tickets. If you would like some, and we've got a number of prizes here today, or raffle prizes here today. So thank you for those that have donated some of them. We will kick off in a minute. Obviously, there's about 6 of us that have no idea about technology trying to put all this together. We've got everything labelled end to end, but we just can't get the streaming going for some reason. So bear with us, and we will start very, very soon. But yeah, Katie, have you got raffle tickets ready to sell? Or yep. Okay. So if you do want some, certainly grab them. We'll draw the prize when we have the barbecue later, so you've got time even after the meeting to grab a couple of tickets if you do want some. Who would have felt that earthquake this morning? There, you? Was it Mark? Yeah, apparently so, yeah. We pulled up at the service station at Warwick before we came, and there was a couple of guys there, swore black and blue they felt it. I think they might have still been on it a little bit, but yeah, it would have been unusual for them, for the guys up north. So how'd you go? All going. Jude. What are you doing up there? Oh, okay. Well, we might... Kim, are we recording now? Oh, okay. Fantastic. All right, well, we might kick off with... we're running a little bit late, but that's all right. That's our usual program. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see a really good turnout today, and so thank you all for coming. It's obviously a reflection on our guest speaker that we do have today with such a good turnout, and we thank Mary Lee for coming over. You're right, Mary Lee, you keep talking. Yeah, so we're much appreciated for her to come over. It's been quite a few years since she's been able to come over to see us or be a part of our club or celebrations that we've had, whether it's conventions, etc. So it's really good to see her over this side. I'll hand over to Jude in a sec. I've got a little bit of a message here from Tara as well. So Tara hasn't been able to be here today because she's off playing a grand final of her sport or something final or grand final of the sports today. So Tara has been. We've charged Tara basically with organising a lot of the convention for next year. As a employee of the club, and with her experience in convention type work or convention type training, this sort of thing is right up her alley. So it's been great that she's been really excited to jump in and start a lot of the organising and preparations for it, with just us voicing our thoughts in the background. We do have a few catch-ups, and we will have some more throughout the year, closer heading towards it. But yeah, it's been really, really good. We're really excited about the lineup that we're putting together for next year's convention. We were pleasantly pleased how last year's went. considering we hadn't run one for a fair while, and a lot of us hadn't been a part of running one. And the economics of the industry, I suppose, or the hobby. We weren't sure how it would go, but we were well supported, and it was a great turnout. And I think that the one we're putting together for the next year is going to be as good, if not, will definitely be better with the lineup of speakers. But same venue, and which I think we had a lot of good feedback from the venue and the food and everything, and the lineup of speakers is going to be very exciting. So I'll go through a little bit of that in a minute, but I'll hand over to Jude just to go through a few of the boring parts.
Thank you. I'm very good at the boring parts. And I'm going to keep it really, really short. So I'm just doing bank balances and a quick shop report, okay? Okay, so as of today, the 19th of August, the membership account has $3,507 in it, which is really good. We've had a lot of new memberships coming through, and that's great because it's starting to pay for everything. As a lot of the costs from memberships is postage. That's out for all the members and the magazines and stuff. So this is a really good thing that we've got 3.5 in there. The sales account is going amazingly. I love the way the shop has come ahead, and Tara is just incredible. I can't thank her enough for all the hard work and the way it's set up and how online sales are up. But all this sort of stuff is amazing. So in that account, we have $23,454. But last week, there was over $30,000 in it. So I have paid the rent for all of September. So we're paid miles ahead. I've paid all the bills that aren't due till the end of the month, all ahead. And so after all of that said and done, we still have $23,500 in the bank. So I'm very excited. So within 3 years, basically, that's how long it's taken. Shop move, shop change, staff change, it's all happened, and we are really, really going great. The events account, which has been good too, since we've been feeding a tiny bit in from the North Brisbane bird sale. So a bit comes in, a bit goes out for tables, a bit goes out for venue hire, blah, blah, blah. And so that got up to over 2,000, and it was almost 3,000. So sitting now at 603, but I've just paid Kedron Wavell for the convention, which is a year away. The deposit was just over 2,000. So I think we're really kicking goals. Basically, that is it. So the shop report is the June to August is the number of orders. Okay, so it's gone up 59%, right? The average spend for each person that comes into the shop or buys online was $161, and it has gone up to, what have I done? I might have it backwards here. But anyway, it's gone up 59% in this last quarter. So the number of orders, the orders are down a little bit. There was 886 orders, and then it went down. So I think I've got it back to front. 907, right, is now. So it's down a bit. And the total sales in the shop is up 24%. So even though people are spending, they're spending more money per person, but there's less sales. So that's what she's written here. In conclusion, less orders this period, but people are spending more each visit. So the actual sales are up 24%, which is pretty damn good. Now, I've got a lot of stuff written here. I'm a bit back and forward and all over the place. I apologise for that. But it's really for the committee. I don't want to bore you with any more sort of treasurer nonsense. So thank you all for coming, because you all look fantastic. And we're really looking forward to this little talk. Okay, that's it from me.
Thank you, Jude. Just had a message from Ben. What we might do, if Mary Lee's all right to... Don't sit down. If you're all right to start, we might go on to your talk now, and then I'll have a little bit of a few words about the convention, etc., after your presentation, if that's okay. Yep. That's good.
Just have to do one technical.
Yep. So, yeah, that's fine. So look, Mark's been kind enough to run. We're going to run this as a bit of an interview on Mary Lee's time in aviculture and her background and what she's seen and done and achieved in New Zealand. Mark's known her for about 73 years.
Too long.
And he's thoroughly enjoying having her over here for a visit.
God no.
So look, thank you very much, Mary Lee, again for coming over. We'll hand over to Mark, and you can do your little introduction and the presentation. Well, big introduction and the presentation. Have a seat. So, welcome, Mary Lee. You're going to stand. You sure? You might take a long time.
She will be sitting by the end of this. Can you guys hear this microphone okay? This is a new one. All good? Thank you very much. So I've had the pleasure of knowing this wonderful woman. It's true. For about 24 years now, isn't it? And this young lady rocked up on my doorstep back in New Zealand and wanted to know as much as she could about birds. And the rest is pretty much history. As you can see, the photograph is a very old one. I couldn't find a recent one. This is going to be fun. Anyway, all right. So, Mary is the owner of Sky Bird Aviaries back in New Zealand, and it started out as a hobby. And we're just going to go through a few slides. It's 21 slides. There's quite a lot of information. And once Mary starts, she never stops. So, if you want to cut it short, just let us know, okay? Yeah. All right. Let's go. Let's go, Mary. So, you live in West Auckland, but it's not the only place you've lived in, is it?
No, I was born down in the South Island.
Closer to your mouth.
Oops. Yes, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, I was born in the South Island, and I moved up here. Closer. Right. Okay, I've got to have it in my mouth.
Now she's
that
comfortable.
I'm good at. And then I moved up here when I was about 23, up to Auckland, I forget where I am. Up to Auckland when I was about 23, and from there I've been in New Lynn, as in West Auckland, then I went to Gleneden, and then in 2001 I bought the property in Foster Road in Kumeu.
That's right, and you did have a pretty interesting life before all that, didn't you? And Mary Lee was responsible for a company that you had in the fashion industry. Could you tell us a little bit about that, just very briefly?
The company name was Katrina Fashions Limited. I started out doing children's wear. I started out by going into I used to make my little daughter Katrina some clothes, and I went into a shop, and the shop owner asked me where I got the clothes from, and I said, well, I made them. And we got to talking, and the next thing you know, he's asking me, can I make some for the shop? And I think he ordered about 24 dresses, and they all sold in one day.
But that led on to something pretty big, didn't it? How many staff did you employ at your peak?
At the end, I was employing about just over 100 staff inside the factory, and then I used to also employ about 30 staff outworkers. So I mean, you have a very strong commercial mind, don't you? A way of thinking, and everything is, it's about people as well. But you're responsible for 130 people, and you have
you
to
were the
make
boss.
Decision. Yeah, I not only I was the boss, but I also physically run the factory floor. I wasn't up in the office. I had people to do that. Paperwork was not my thing. Doing the work, sitting on the machines, was my best asset to the team.
Like getting your hands dirty and being part of the crew rather than the office waller.
Yeah.
And I suppose you've carried that sort of commercial thinking into your next project.
Well, I did, yes.
Let's have a look, eh?
Pardon?
Sorry. Carry on.
Right.
Told you, once you start, you don't stop. Keep going.
No, you were going to ask me a question, sorry.
It's gone. Forgotten.
Yeah.
Right, so then you had a bit of an inquiry from your kids, didn't you?
Yes, I did. When my marriage broke up, the kids wanted to buy goldfish and things like that, which wasn't me. So we went down to the bird barn and we had a look around there, and I ended up picking a pair of budgies.
up for the kids, and then I bought a rainbow lorikeet. It was supposedly a male, but it turned out to be a female, and the name of that bird was Skybird. So I then, when she laid an egg, I decided I would have to buy a male for her. And then I also spoke to the owner of the bird barn and asked him because my kids then wanted to get into birds. And so then I asked the owner to build me some aviaries. And my ex-partner had a big garden out the back, so I just filled it up with concrete. And too bad if he wanted to come back, he had no garden. And so then we built these 4 aviaries on there. And the first birds I bought were red collar lorikeets, some echolactus, some little corellas, and some sundays. I bought with my heart. The corellas were beautiful. They would sit there with their holding each other's paw and look here and there, but they did nothing. So I learnt after a while that you have to think past what they look like. So yeah, from there it was just all go. Really, it was for the children, but after 6 months they decided that it was too hard to work. They wanted to get rid of the birds, but by that time I'd already done some hand rearing, which I absolutely loved, and so that was it. I was hooked. In the meantime, I'd gone to meet. I decided I wanted to do this properly because of my business mind. I needed to know what I was getting myself in for, and I wanted to do it properly. I wanted to do the birds justice. So I rang this guy here. I didn't know him from a bar of soap. I just heard that he was, a pretty cool guy. So I went to meet him, and first thing he told me is, don't breed hybrids. And I had sun conures. Sundays, yes. So it was like, oh, too late. But unfortunately in New Zealand now, we do have to sometimes mix species because we don't have the
Gene pool.
gene pool. A few years ago, 8 years ago, I got really sick, and I have giant cell arteritis where the blood doesn't go up to the brain. So every now and again, I get lost. So that's why I said to Mark when he kept asking me to do this, I said, I forget words. I can't sometimes get my words out. So if I have that and I ask him, that's why. It's because it's just
I'm not going to help her.
Temporarily. You're not going to help me. You will suffer tonight.
It's going to be fun. All right. So things changed. So were you still employing people at this stage? Was your business still running?
Yes.
So you were running a business. Your business mind was considering a big leap of faith into from turning your interest in birds from a hobby into a more commercial venture?
Because of the clothing trade, it was the clothing trade. It was dying with all the imports, and there wasn't a lot of people. Well, I was classed as a CMT, which is cut, make, and trim for other firms, and the other firms were starting to buy from India and China and all that sort of thing. So I knew at the end of the day, when the government took the tariffs off imported goods, it was going to cripple our trade. And so I thought, well, what am I going to do after this? And I was already in birds, and I thought, well, maybe I could do that. So see how that goes. But New Zealand is very small, and I knew it wasn't going to be enough I won't be able to bring enough in to sustain it. So I went to see a couple of, an exporter had rung me and heard that I was breeding lorikeets. So I sold him some lorikeets and then some galahs. And then, unfortunately, he lost his license. He couldn't export anymore. He was a bit naughty. And so he came to me and he asked me, did I want to take over his company? And he sold it to me for $1. So, okay, so now I'm an exporter. I had no ideas what I was doing. I'd already been around and asked the other exporter what sort of birds did I need to export, and he said the Australian birds is what they want overseas. So that's what I did. And then once I took over Parrots International, I then had to find a property to go to. I was living on a quarter-acre section and I had 43 aviaries on that section. I was extremely lucky with my neighbours. They absolutely loved the noise. I don't know whether they would think that now. So I went looking for a property to do this exporting from because I wanted to build my own quarantine station on the site. So I went looking, and then I started out in 201, and then in 206 I bought this property, and it's Foster Road, and this is the starting of building the aviaries. You go up a hill there, and there's the breeding. That was my first block up there. Then the next was I needed to build a quarantine. Then we have another lot of blocks further down, and this is the quarantine we built. It took quite a long time. There's all sort of aviaries in there, and there's offices, and there's all sorts of things, and then we had to cover it because Japan protocol said that we have to have mosquito netting over everything. So I covered all of the protocols that I was dealing with at that point of time, and I installed it in the building.
Did you still have your fashion industry company?
Yes, I had. At that point of time, I had a farm manager there. He was renovating the house, and then I had a guy come in, and he was building the aviaries. So I was still living out at the house with most of the birds, and then in 2007 I moved back to the house, and the manager still stayed on. There's another house on the property, so he stayed on to look after the birds and that, and I did the weekends, and then it was about 10 years later I closed up the clothing factory. But I used to take all my young to the factory and to hand rear in the morning. When I think about it now, I don't know how I did it.
You mentioned this morning whilst we were chatting that you wore stilettos to work, and that sometimes... Can you give us a little bit more about that, please?
I was a fashion...
She was the right lady, apparently.
Yes, I was a lady then, believe it or not. And when I bought this place and I was out visiting the site, so I would be out there with I would hop home at lunchtime or drive home. And then I would get out and walk around in my high heels, and the workers were saying, who the hell does she think she is, until they realised I was the owner. So, took me a wee while, a few badly damaged heels on shoes to realise I needed to now start acting like a farmer person.
So, what were you thinking at this time? I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, this would be a big venture for New Zealand, that nothing of this scale would have happened before. Would that be right, Marilee?
No, yeah. Yeah, well, when I built the quarantine, I got a hold of MPI and I asked him what the protocol was for, or what they required in a quarantine. They said they had no idea. The previous guy, he used to have it in the barn, and he had aviaries sort of built in there. There was holes in the walls. He had straw on the ground. And so when I built this, I looked at like all the protocols that we have, and that's when I built it like that. And so I set the standard for the quarantines, things and that.
So they could have easily, I mean, the authorities could have easily said, no, I'm not going to do this anymore, and you would have invested in this, and it would have been... No.
Well, I'd use it for aviaries.
Yeah, yeah. So a big leap of faith for you.
It was, yeah.
We're moving on to you doing your investigation into some species. You touched on it before, and this is what you were talking about this morning, wasn't it? What
Yeah.
people or the world wanted.
Yeah, this is what I basically, long-billed corellas, majors, and galahs. We haven't got galahs up there, and lorikeets. Normal lorikeets. There's lorikeets there, but not rainbows. And Nancy, you made me forget.
That's fine, carry on. There are
I
galahs
had
up
over
there.
100 aviaries filled with lorikeets. I would breed maybe 300, 400 lorikeets a year. I would hand rear 90% of them. Not only rainbows, but most of what I exported was rainbows and red collars. Then they wanted the olive rainbows and red collars. Then I got onto the cinnamon scalies, which I thought were Lutinos at the start. So then we started selling the cinnamon scalies and the mustard scalies. So most shipments I had lorikeets in them, and the other was mostly galahs.
So you learnt a lot about aviculture, especially New Zealand aviculture, pretty quickly, I would have thought.
I had to. Yeah.
Yeah. And how did the community receive you as this like up and fresh coming person, straight into birds, building aviaries? What was the community thinking, do you think,
The
at that time?
community didn't know because I'm down the driveway. Even I've been there 24 years, and some of my neighbours across the road do not know I've got birds. They're down a driveway, and when you get down there, they realise, holy, that's, these macaws and everything like that going off.
And what about the avicultural community? I mean, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
And there's this person coming in, working really, really rapidly through the avicultural scene.
Yep.
What was that like for you?
When I first joined the Parrot Society in 201, when I very first started out in birds. Oops. Yep, in 201. Sorry, if you can't hear me, tell me. I went to the Parrot Society in 201. In 202, I was put on the committee, had no idea what I was doing, but they thought I had a bit of a brain to be able to organise things. And then 210, I think, we had our first small convention. And then in 212, I was president, and I stayed on as president for near on 11 years. And now I'm the vice president, which is really silly because you're supposed to have a vice president that's ready to move up. But so Hayden needed the help. So this year is going to be my last year as vice president. So,
And then after, when would this have happened? When was your first export? What year was that, Marilee?
206.
206?
Yeah, 206. I exported before I moved to the farm.
So from 2001, from a pet sort of situation and a bit of a hobby, 2006 you were one of the biggest international exporters in New Zealand.
I have been known to jump into things and then think, how am I going to pay for this after? As my whole life has worked.
And this is that business brain coming in. You've seen a niche, and it could, nobody else was doing it. You took advantage of that, and here you are today.
Yeah.
Still doing it today.
I'm still doing it today. Last year, New Zealand had avian influenza, so all our exports were stopped in November. And on the way here yesterday, I got an email from MPI to say they've now lifted the ban for Japan. So when I get home, I'll go straight into, I've got 2 orders to go to Japan, so that'll be great. And it'll be like 80 birds I can get rid of.
So those birds are in that facility, that quarantine now, or are they still go in?
There's some in the quarantine, yeah.
Wow.
But some of them are still in my conservatory so I can keep them all pets. For Japan, it's pet stuff. So
We were talking earlier on today about how, because you were leading the way, that how loose the authorities were on some of the
when I
requirements.
when I first started, MPI didn't do really anything. All they did was come and check the quarantine, check you got your birds in there, signed you off, and then when you were ready to export, you would pack the birds up, take them to the airport. In the meantime, you've already got your CITES as well, but you'd pack up and go to the airport. Doc would meet us there. She would check that what the birds I said was going to be in there was there, and she would put the seal on, and that was it. That's all. It was dead easy. Then after about a year and a half, they decided that a new guy come into MPI and decided they had to tighten up. And then they asked to put leg rings on, which is a sensible thing. So they would check that. They would check the birds going in, then they checked the birds going out to make sure they're the same birds. And in those days, if you made a mistake on your leg rings or on your CITES, they would just come along and cross it out and write the right number. Now, things have changed. They're so strict now, as Scott will tell you, that if you put a dot in the wrong place, if you write a ring number and put a dot there by mistake, that bird cannot go. They just say it's not going. So things have got so tight now.
So this is an example. Would this be of your first export, or was this a little bit later on? Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening here?
I think it's a couple of exports there. I think that one might have been my first one there. I can't
See it?
remember. Sorry, I can see. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, you must have been feeling pretty proud of yourself to do something that was unique, big for New Zealand, and being a sort of the cornerstone of getting things up and running. How did that?
I didn't.
It was just that business mind kicked in.
I just did it, and it was when I run the clothing factory, I had office staff, did all my paperwork. I didn't know how to use a computer properly.
Still doesn't.
And so to take on this, I had to do a quick course in computer work, and I hadn't dealt with the government or anything like that. So to find out, you've got to get your CITES, you've got to go to MPI, you've got all these, which to me at that time I was jumping some hurdles, but compared to what it is now, it's nothing, yeah.
So in terms of birds in New Zealand, we know that it hasn't got much of it has got population of birds and stuff. Were birds plentiful and that you could fulfill those orders? And
Pardon?
what's it like now? I'm going to go into sign language, I can tell. In those days, in those days you had plentiful supply of birds. Would that be fair to say in terms of what was required?
When I first started, there was a lot of pet breeders, galahs, you would have maybe 10 people that were breeding more than 10, 20 pairs of galahs, and there was always it was a plentiful supply of birds in those days. Major Mitchells, I had two big breeders that each year I would maybe get 16, 18 majors off them each, but now I'm lucky to get 2 and 3 from breeders. Everything is just cut right down. The old breeders have gone.
I mean, you're different from a lot of exporters that I know of in the fact that they see things as just a totally commercial venture. With you, your uniqueness also is that you have got a commercial mind.
Yeah.
You do source these birds, etc. But I know for a fact that you also have that heart for making sure that New Zealand aviculture is safe, and that you do have that groundwork of parrots too, isn't it? So it's not just a case of collect, send out.
Yeah.
Not with you, is it?
Yeah.
No. Can you tell us a bit more
Well,
about that mindset?
For gangs, for instance, in the past, his favourite. In the past, all of the exporters were just exporters. They weren't breeders. So all they were worried about, all they wanted was to get the money, and they didn't care that if they send that last bird out, there will never be another one of that bird left in the country to sell. So, you know, it's silly to sell out your breeding stock, and what are you going to be end up with? Nothing. So, you know, that's and now, you know, like I say, a lot of the breeders have cut right down.
And I know as well that you help other breeders to get birds paired up and
Yeah.
support.
Yeah, I do, yeah. That's what I do.
That's right. That's exactly right. I mean, to keep that interest going and that hobby going,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also your business, let's be fair.
Well, that's it, yeah.
That's for sure.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, it's if I don't keep it going, there's going to be no birds left. I mean, you know, I can only breed so many. And, you know, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, as you keep telling me.
Moving on. So this is Skybird Aviaries now. You do have a private collection. You are an exporter, but you absolutely adore the birds that you have
Yes,
too.
yep.
This
Yeah.
is a collection of photographs recently, within the last couple of months, I think it is, of your facility now. Tell us a bit more about that, Marilee.
What can I say? They're there. What I like to do, I like to see my birds. I like to go out on my deck and I can see all of these birds around. It's the only ones I don't see is what's up in the top block. To me, I know there's a lot of breeders out there that have their birds away from them. But, you know, I just like to go out there. I like it when it's raining, to go out there and there's birds are out there enjoying their life.
Mainly conventional aviaries for your setup?
Mostly convention aviaries, yeah. I've got a few suspendeds. I've got a pair of blacks that's in a suspended because she can't fly. For the special birds, if they've got a problem, then I adapt the aviaries to suit them. This is my property. So that's my house in the middle there with the dot. And so you start up right up the end here is my first breeding block.
This one here.
Yep. And then you go down to the quarantine. Up to the quarantine? No, down. You're going down the hill. Oi, you're going down the hill. Get it correct. Okay? You go down the hill, there's the quarantine. And then up here I have all the galahs and majors. And there's galahs, majors and long bills down in that next block. Those two blocks there. They're basically my export breeding blocks. Then we have around the front of the house, you have red-tail blacks, we've got majors, we've got all sorts of bits and pieces there, citrons.
So we can see that's pretty big property. What is the acreage there, Marilee?
There's 15 acres.
So you're in charge of this. You feed every day. Do you have any help?
I have a guy come in on a Wednesday. And he cleans all the water bowls, does the waters, sometimes cleans the aviaries, mows the lawns. So he keeps the maintenance outside up, which is really good because I do have buyers come from overseas, so it has to be presentable for them.
Hand rearing and that sort of stuff, Marilee. You had to learn pretty quick there too, didn't
Yeah.
you? In terms of, saving your babies as well, I suppose, wasn't it?
Sorry?
Saving your babies from whatever happened. I mean, you've
Yeah.
got species there that perhaps won't
Well,
sit.
you know, you've got babies in the aviary that the parents have. The babies in the aviaries that when the parents leave them, so you have to take those in. But when I very first started, the little lorikeets, their box fell on the ground, and then they deserted the chicks. So they were only about maybe 2 weeks old. So I decided, then I hand reared them, and I just fell in love with hand rearing. So right from 201, right from the start, I've done hand rearing, which is, it's good.
Totally rewarding, that's for sure. We'll touch on that a little bit later, but we've just got a question from the floor. The property that you bought,
Yes.
there was none of that infrastructure around your house. It was just paddock, is that right?
Yes, it was a horse paddock. No, he didn't have no gardens. There was there was a few trees there, trees up the back, but there was heaps of bamboo, absolutely bamboo. Where that bamboo is over there, up, Mark, up there.
I can't even jump that
Well, try. Yeah, okay, up the top there. Yeah. So we had that all. That over the other side of that is tunnel houses, because the property before I moved into it, had about 7 tunnel houses on there, and they used to grow carnations and export them out. But by the time I got to buy the place, they were all in ruin. So I pulled all the ones out up here, and the ones over the other side of the bamboo, I kept those 3, and that's what I had lorikeets in, and kept the overrun of stock for galahs and things like that for exporting.
Is there anything that you changed with that design, or are you happy with how it flows now?
I'm happy with it. You know.
Cool.
I mean, maybe I could have put thought more of the birds and have the aviaries facing the other way, but I wouldn't get the joy of watching them. And also, there's been a couple of injuries in there, and I can see it straight away. If it's turned the other way, you could have some injuries you don't know about.
The following are a few species that you've kept and keep and do today. Thank you to Jade Welch, by the way, for the use of some of the photos that we do see in this presentation. So, Jade has been a massive stalwart for our club especially,
Yes,
and
yes.
he's been pretty bloody awesome to have around, eh?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
yes.
thank you, Jade, for the photographs that
Yes.
we are about to see in here. So tell us a bit more about what you've got here, Marilee. A lot of these species you might think are pretty common in Australia or whatever, but in New Zealand...
Yep. We've got my favourite, gangs. And as you can see, Mark's favourite is a food. With a big spew on it. Take no notice of that. So the gangs, I went in halves with another guy when I first bought them, because they were going to be exported. And that was one of the lot of birds that I saved. They were going to be exported. They got as far as
By somebody else.
Yes, not by me. Yeah, by somebody else. And they got to the birds to the airport. Then Doc decided that they hadn't done their paperwork properly, so she wouldn't let them go. And they rang me up and asked me, did I want to buy them? Because I'd already put an offer in, but then they were getting more money overseas. So I said, yes, I'll take them. And I really didn't want them on my property because I had a couple of jealous breeders out there that I had to put cameras in, I had to do security, I had to put gates in because they...
Well, you're also building a reputation of getting some rare stuff in too.
Yeah,
and
you end up with people coming to visit you in the middle of the night. So when I first bought my first pair of blacks, I sent those down to Taranaki.
Would you mind sharing how much you paid for them at the moment?
I paid, for my first pair of blacks, I paid $46,000. Now they're worth $10,000 a pair for a pair of red-tailed blacks. So, hey, that's, if you want it, if you want something good, you sometimes have to pay for it.
They breed quite well in New Zealand too, don't
Pardon?
they? They breed quite well now in New Zealand.
Yes.
Yeah, same with the African greys. They're breeding exceptionally well, aren't they?
Yes, the African greys go great. Yeah, yep. Then I had the Amazons and the Jardines. They were beautiful. and the greys, and these are my good pair of breeding blacks. But the citrons, I was offered 5 citrons, and I hummed and hawed about it. And then I thought, nope, I'll take those. And the guy had bred some from a pair, and he didn't want to sell. So he just built them up, and he had a big aviary full of citrons. And then he decided he was going to close down, and he sold a pair to somebody else, and I got the 5. And in the end, I ended up with the other guy's pair as well. So I had them in the quarantine, and I saw a pair of the citrons mating. They weren't meant to be, they hadn't paired up or anything when he had them. So I saw them mating, so I gave them an aviary straight away, put a nest box in there, and within about 3 weeks, she'd produced the first egg for me. So, and it was fertile, so yeah, it was pretty exciting.
And at this stage, you've got your blacks breeding, etc., and you're firmly established as an exporter around the world.
Yes.
People are getting to know you.
Yep.
You're getting inquiries from all over.
Yeah, there's only certain places that we're exporting to. It's like Japan, Thailand, Brazil. We used to ship to South Africa, but I don't now. But my biggest buyers are in Japan for the pet market and in Taiwan. We're now also shipping to the Philippines. So, and I think Korea, if I can if I can get enough stock.
We've got some images of some more of your birds, Marilee.
Yep.
What would be your Achilles heel? Which would be something that sticks out for you in terms of your parrot species you love?
I actually love the scarlets. The scarlets are one of my favourite birds. I've got 3 pair. And they're great, yeah. So scarlets and citrons is what.
And you're getting success with the scarlets? They can be a bit
I
nippy, a
do,
bit
yes,
attitudinal.
yeah. They go. I've got a pair. They go down twice. One is as long as I pull the chicks, the first round, and then I let them have the second lot of chicks. But most people want pet birds in New Zealand for those.
And of course, with a few years down the track and you've got some experience under your belt, etc., a little bit of success happens for you. Can you tell us a bit about your success that you've had with parrot species? Please do.
Pardon? I've bred, my share of birds. Red-tailed blacks, I have bred maybe. I have 1 pair there. I tried her with her egg, and within 2 days it was on the floor. So I pulled her eggs, and she gave me 8 chicks that year. And I've got others that just give me 2 eggs.
You've also experienced those things where, eggs on the floor and young pairs learning and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And every now and again I try them again to see if they will sit on their eggs, but, they just turf it again, so I don't bother to try.
Have you had trouble with, formulas? Formulas over here for hand rearing is quite common. We have a lot of that different variety. What were you using? I mean, it's New Zealand. It's in the bottom of nowhere.
I've gone back to Katie's.
Have you had trouble with consistency, running out and then having to do emergency stuff or whatever?
When I was using other products, yes. I used to use Supreme a lot. That was good. I used to either get it from Matt or from My Bird. I think it's in America. But they don't make that now, so I went back to Katie's. I really like Katie's. I tried Supreme. I tried Vitafarm, and last season I lost a few birds, and so I went back to Katie's, and everything was fine again. So there was a bad batch, so I don't go back there again.
Moving on, we know that you have a passion for agriculture, but I also know that you have a massive heart for people to experience success as well, and you're pretty much a stalwart in sharing your experiences. And with the Parrot Society, etc., we do a lot. Well, did do a lot of workshops whereby you share your experiences. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
When I first was asked to be president, I said I would for a year. And when I joined the Parrot Society, I wanted to go to workshops where you could demonstrate, things were being demonstrated for you, or you can get involved in learning things physically rather than just on books and things like that. And
Hands-on stuff.
Yeah, I asked people, what did they think about having a workshop? We did the first workshop we did on microscopes.
Microscopes, that was
Yeah.
massive. That was brilliant,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, and so I just hired a marquee and we had it at my place. And
Dr. Barron came through
yep,
with a heap
yep,
of
and we hired
microscopes.
got all of these microscopes, and he let people, we had there, and he showed people what to do, and they
Learned.
learnt, and they could do the same thing. You know, they had the physical thing there, so
It
we
was
had
really,
everything
really,
there.
it was a great day actually, where people were learning how to worm their own, as in identify worms
Yeah,
in fecal matter and stuff, and knowing
Yeah.
the technique with really simple
it
equipment.
was it was exciting.
Bloody
because
great,
it was
wasn't it?
something that we hadn't done before, and it was something I wanted to learn, and I found out that there was a lot of other people wanted to learn that sort of thing too.
And it was that hands-on practical approach.
Yeah.
And again, in the early stages, we used to have our workshops at people's houses, didn't we?
Yes, yeah. But then we started having workshops in halls and places like that. Mark and I we were asked to go down to Manitou, and we did, I did my first hand rearing down there, and I said to Mark, I can't do it. And he said, of course you can do it. Just do it. And I just
Crikey,
did it.
She had 130 people employing cheapers. Feeding a bird wouldn't have been a problem.
And then Mark and I were asked to go down to Christchurch. So we went down to Christchurch and showed them how to my way of hand rearing. And I know a lot of people had success from it because when we were in Manitou, I got an email from a lady the next day to say thank you for helping me, because she's got cameras in her nests, and I think Alexandrines weren't feeding the chicks. So she pulled them, and she did exactly what I showed her to do. And yeah, she was happy that they survived, and they all got cold, and because they just weren't responding. They'd got cold. She had got out of the nest for too long. And there's all different reasons why you have to hand rear.
Then a shift to sharing information a little bit bigger than a workshop, wasn't it? And we
Yes.
sort of got our teeth into some conventions, and
Yeah.
Mary Lee was pretty much a stalwart of driving these things as well, and with a bit of a vision, bit of a goal, and that sort of stuff.
We had come to a lot of conventions, I and Paul had come to a lot of conventions to Australia, and we thought we can do that. And, we tried to improve on a few things. And yeah, they were great.
Very much so. And if you are a speaker in New Zealand, be prepared to work. Jade, be prepared to work. Filling up tote bags and that sort of stuff. Eric cleaning up the aviaries before he's to speak
I
and
used
all
to
that sort of
make
jazz.
the speakers work if they come early. I'd had a big storm, and this branch had fallen down right, in front of things. So Eric said, what do you want me to do? And I said, well, can you do that? So he said, yep. So he cut it all up for me, and then we had a big branch fall off the gum tree. So he went and cut those up and took them up to the galahs, and I kept him working for a whole day. He earned his airfare over.
He loved it, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
And
So
then at night, one night, it was about a Thursday night, wouldn't it be? We would go to another guy's place, and we would fill up all the tote bags, and some of the speakers were there, and
Look at Jade. He's like a little boy, isn't he?
Yeah. Jade and Linnell were there at once. It was great. There's Jade over there. Yeah.
So everything is moving smoothly. Your international business is doing really, really well. People
Yes.
are breeding birds, and things are going really, really well. Then this happens.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about this?
The council decided that they were going to ban this set of birds: galahs, cockies, quakers, eastern rosellas, which we have them flying everywhere. They were introduced into New Zealand donkeys years ago by somebody grey, and to fly free, and they were over on Kowau Island, I think it was. But, Kowau Island is only, a stone's throw away. So they come over to the mainland and they are here. All of a sudden they wanted to ban them. They're flying free everywhere. Very few people keep them. And they also banned rainbow lorikeets.
So those are 6 species that were being threatened by the council. What actually happened? What did you have to do?
Well, the council hadn't even informed us what they were doing. It's just that I got an email from one of the members, said that she'd been on the reptile site, and she found this ban, what the council was doing, or had done. They had already implemented it. So with that...
Without you knowing?
Without us knowing at all. They went to a couple of places called Animates that doesn't even sell birds, and said that it didn't matter to them what the council did. So they didn't bother to come to the Parrot Society. They knew there was exporters. They didn't come to us. And they did say that the exporters could apply for an exemption, which I did. So I got my exemption, but then we got a hold of the solicitor, so then we had to fight to get these birds taken off the list. So all we could manage to save was the cockies and the galahs. And then they gave us the rosellas, and I said I didn't want the rosellas, I'd rather have the lorikeets, but they said no, they have already established themselves and over the country, so they wanted to get rid of those. But so it was the day before going to court that the council got in touch with us. We were actually, because our lawyer's bill was $185,000. I mean, some of you guys were involved in helping us raise the money, where we did raffles and everything like that. We had extra workshops.
Australia was absolutely magnificent in support, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they were just great. Over in Melbourne, they were great. The support we got from Australia was amazing. And that we didn't have the money. We had like $50,000 in the bank when this started. So, and the lawyer had said, it'll be about $50,000. So we thought we were right, but $50,000 went nowhere when you're looking at 3 lawyers, and the council had 4 lawyers working for them. So they wouldn't give us the right information. But the lawyers don't listen to you properly either, and they weren't asking the right things. So that bird person, you have to be a bird person to know what you're talking about, really, I think.
And this just wasn't national, was it? This was just one area.
This is just for Auckland. Yeah.
Just for Auckland.
Yeah. So
what was the outcome?
The outcome was we saved the sulphurs and the galahs and the rosellas.
So what implications were you faced with then as an exporter, or even somebody as a hobby breeder? What happened then to these guys?
The council was saying that you couldn't even transport a bird to the vets of these banned birds. You couldn't take them through the Auckland area at all. You couldn't come from down the line and go up to Whangarei with
So
them.
you couldn't
'Cause
drive through Auckland
No,
with these
you would-
birds?
They said you couldn't do any of that. You know, and if you and I said, well, you know, the birds get sick. They're not like a person. When a bird's sick, when you really see a bird is sick, it needs attention right then. You're not going to get people asking you for a permit to go take their bird to the vet. It's just not fair.
So where are you now?
So they've changed all the ruling on that people are allowed to move birds through. The people that had the banned birds as pets were allowed to keep those, but they can't sell them. They can't move them on. But
So
people still do.
so
Or
you
they,
kind-
you know, they can go out of. Who can see what's in your car? People go to bird sales down the line, and pick up a ringneck or a rainbow, and sneak it home. They have no idea who's got these pets. So how are they going to monitor them properly?
And-
You
and
know, it's
this-
a
the whole
lot of money spent.
The whole thing was based off assumption, was it, from overseas data?
Yep, that from Australia. What these birds, the damage these birds do in Australia is what they went with.
Assumed in New
Yep.
Zealand.
The Quakers is what where are they, was it in England or where? Where they build their nests in
That's right, Spain. Yeah.
Pardon?
That's right.
into but they also go in the lines, the power lines and things like that.
So none of this data was based off New Zealand fact. It was all
No,
based on
it wasn't,
overseas.
no, yeah. So we ended up getting a guy from down the line that did an analysis on their report, and he just annihilated them. So that's why the day before court, they said that that they would give us half of the birds, and that was it.
So you kind of won, and you
Well,
kind
we're-
of didn't,
yeah, we're-
and it
yeah.
cost you
Well, I won what I
$180,000.
wanted to. But you know, for me, I can breed all of those birds as an exporter, but I can't sell the banned birds. I can't sell in Auckland. I can sell them outside of Auckland, but other people can't breed them.
So other councils, are they looking at this model?
The Whangarei Council, the council just up north from us, they are now implementing, and they are going even harder. They're trying to ban Alexandrines because they're related to the ringnecks. And then I think Waikato is going to be next. So I tried to tell people that this isn't just going to happen in Auckland. This is going to happen New Zealand-wide. If they want to make New Zealand pest-free, Auckland is not New Zealand. All we were was a test case.
Is that their goal? Is it to make New Zealand pest-free?
Sorry? Their goal is to make New Zealand pest-free. Yes,
Yeah.
sorry? Yeah.
Yeah, and that means all exotics or what?
Yeah, there's goldfish, certain goldfish. There's koi, yep. There is reptiles, lots of reptiles. Certain palm trees, you're not allowed.
Incredible.
Banksias, they want to get rid of banksia trees. You know.
Thank you, Marilee, for that insight. Yeah, a bit of a threat, but you're having to live with it. Is that how we're
Yeah.
dealing with it
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, you just, you know, it didn't really affect me. I'd already got rid of my lorikeets. It would have been, you know, well, I was exporting my lorikeets, but those birds that they've banned is not an issue to me.
And I suppose we all face these up and down to naviculture, and we have to just band together and try and work through it. And that's exactly what New Zealand did, didn't they? They
Yeah.
banded together, fought this off, and
Yeah,
it's not really a winning battle, really, is it?
yeah, no. People, they thought we were. A lot of the people out there thought we were just stirring, just making up things, because they just didn't believe that the council would do this without informing us. and even now people say, you know, I didn't know that that was banned or that there was a problem. They just live in their own little world. But for me, I live for aviculture, and I was doing this. I could have just walked away because I already had my license, but I did it for all of aviculture in New Zealand because, you know, if we let this go through, then it's just going to get worse and worse.
And this is where your business mind kicks in, your tenacity to never back down.
Don't back, no, don't back down. And you know, fortunate for me, we've got through it. Yeah.
So 24 years have gone by. You've been up and down in terms of aviculture. You supported a lot of people. We're going to move into something that is a future focus for you, some species that you have in your private collection that you have learnt to love and try and collect, I suppose, and breed as much as you can. Can you tell us a bit more about what you have here?
These are something special. My scarlet macaws, they've been their thing. I have now, there's my citrons there, I've been breeding those. The Moluccans. Now this bird here, this pied black, actually belongs to this gentleman with my male. Mark, this bird it's beautiful, but it's been around many owners. Pardon?
It's been around the block.
Yep. Davy Jones owned it first. And in those days, if a bird had a funny colour or something different about it, get rid of it because it's sick. It's got a liver disease. And that's exactly what he did. He admitted himself. He sold it on because he thought it was a sick bird, and he sold it on to a guy down in Christchurch. And then Mark heard about it. He went down to check it, and he fell in love with it. It has been with many males, many males. The guy down in Christchurch had it for about 12 years. And he tried about 5 different males with her, and she didn't want to know any of them. So then Mark got her, and he put her with 2 of his males. And then he was coming over to Australia, and he asked me, could I export her? And I said, can I try her with a young male I've got here, an unproven male? And I put them together. Mark had moved here. And lo and behold, that year she laid an egg and it was fertile. And he was just a 3-year-old, so her name got to be Cougar. Yeah.
We've got some green wings up in the top left-hand corner, Marilee. We see green wings here everywhere.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about this pair?
The green wings, we don't have a pair. Other than that, there was a pair of green wings in New Zealand, but they weren't compatible. So the guy split them up and he had them with hybrids, and that's what he would breed. He would just breed hybrids. Then another guy, he had got a green wing and a scarlet macaw. And he's got the paperwork for bringing it. It's legitimate, yes, legitimate. And so the guy used to free fly them that owned the female macaw and the scarlet, and he used to free fly them. And then he used to do microgliding, and he killed it. He fell out of the sky and killed himself. Anyway, his wife kept the birds, but she had them in a great big aviary. Didn't have a nest for them. They used to just lay their eggs on the floor, and she'd just let the rats eat the eggs. So she rang Davy Jones up, and said, do you want to come and pick these eggs up? And there was 5 eggs there, and he got 5 chicks out of it. So she then gave the birds to Davy. There was the green wing and the scarlet. And so he's been producing from those like that. For about 5-6 years, he's been producing rubies. So Davey's now got very old. He's 89, and he's decided he's going to sell some of his birds. And I was the most logical person to get the green wing because I already had the male that was breeding with a hybrid. So, yeah, I've had them together now for 3 months, I think, 3 months. And my male can't fly. He's not the best looking bird, but he's a green wing. And he produces beautiful chicks. So to stop him getting in the box, I had to block it off. He's tried to get in there, but when I get back home again, I'm going to drill a hole in the centre and hopefully they'll work through it that way. But yeah, so it was an expensive exercise to get these two together, but hopefully we'll produce pure green wings in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's the only pair that's now left in New Zealand, isn't it? A pure green wing.
Yeah, it'll be just awesome to do that.
Again, obviously, there's an interest in that top right-hand corner with the different coloured black, red-tail black. Have you figured out what mutation it is yet?
Well, I've been told it's a dilute. Other people argue that it's a cinnamon.
It's a male, isn't it?
It's a male, yeah. But it's got this. It does have this cinnamon sheen down the front of it. But if it's a cinnamon, it should have been a female. So that at this point in time, we're picking that it's a male. Yeah. I mean a recess. So yeah, but it just popped out of an egg that I had eight blacks there, all in different containers. And then when I wanted to take a photo, I put them together. It was still small, and I thought, oh, this is looking a bit wishy-washy. And so, I rang Hayden and sent him a photo. He thought it would just be 1 or 2 feathers, but no. And everybody got excited, but I didn't, because I thought, it can molt out. No use getting excited about something that's not going to happen. And then when it molted, it was like, oh, I can afford to be excited now. So yeah, it's a beautiful bird.
It does look a little bit different. It's 3 years old now, isn't it?
Yeah. I've now paired it up with one of Mark and I's the
offspring from the pied.
Pied black. So hopefully, if we can get something from them, we will.
Yeah, absolutely. Couple of little photographs that meant a little bit to Marilee, and the fact that she's a bit of a doer. What did you do with your fingers that day, you muppet? What were you doing? Circular saw, wasn't it?
Using the circular saw. Pardon? Yes. Yep. I ended up cutting my fingers and doing all sorts of things. And Mark's mum had some greys and some blacks of mine over there. They were feeding for me, and he rang me up to tell me he was bringing them home, and I said, oh look, I'm on my way to the
hospital.
A&E I've just cut my fingers off. So he says, we'll keep the birds, and then the next day he comes over and he's laughing at me.
She's a dick. She is.
And I'd cut great big chunks out of them and the thumb, and they said that you're going to have to go to get some plastic surgery some plastic surgery done on that. I said, no, I can't afford. I've got babies everywhere.
And what gets me was, a few years earlier to that, you're in stilettos, in charge of 130 people.
Yeah.
That lower photograph is pretty special for you, isn't it? We came over to an Aves conference, wasn't it?
Yeah. We came to Matt and Alison's wedding.
That's correct. Sorry.
And we went round to have a look at some aviaries, and I got to hold the very, very first blue lorikeet.
Rainbow
lorikeet, that had hatched. So that bird there has caused a lot of these blue rainbows around
where we are today.
Australia.
Thank you, Marilee, in your journey with us. For me, it's one that I admire. You're an incredible leader, incredible inspiration to people in New Zealand, and you put your balls on the line, and I absolutely love that. And you have the courage to do it. and your heart is massive. You have, you just have the ability to get people on side and bring people along with your journey. It's not about you all the time. It's
No,
about
it's-
you
no,
sharing
yeah.
yourself so that other
I
people
get
can
that.
succeed.
I don't think I've done anything different. Sorry. I don't think I've, it's just what I do, and I want people to come with me on this journey to teach them, these workshops we did, show them how to hand rear and things like that to make the birds' lives a little bit easier. People can do all sorts of damage to chicks if they're not fed them properly and things like that. So to me, I've loved what I've done.
Thank you, Marilee. Brent, is there enough time for any questions that people may have? Are there any questions that people would like to ask? Most probably not.
You ask him. Oh, what, Jade?
Is there anywhere where I can read the story, Marilee?
Pardon?
Is there anywhere where I can read about the story?
No. Jade wrote a fabulous write-up of my experience in my place. It's in the Bird Keeper. He's done a...
Not this issue, the last issue, but tell us a bit more about Marilee's story.
No,
Pretty
you
good.
tell him.
Are there any other
It's
questions?
just told
Scott?
where I've been and how
Oh.
I've got there.
Young man at the back?
It's deaf as a doornail.
So the question is, what's the story with housing native species of parrots like kaka and kia?
We cannot, we're not allowed to. Kakapo, not kakapo, kakariki, we have to have a license for that, but we cannot keep kaka, kia or anything, they won't give you a license for it.
So the government has their own aviaries, do they?
Pardon?
The government has their own aviaries for...
Yes, the sanctuaries like Willowbank, they have kaka. You've got
And Isaac's down South Island
yeah,
too?
yeah. Mark and I went to a place called Isaac's down on South Island, and
Kaka,
the kaka, yeah,
orange-fronted kakariki.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's the idea of the government over there, is that they want native species to prosper.
yes.
And so you are seeing more kaka being produced
Yeah.
in the wild.
The New Zealand doc don't believe that the aviculture people can help with our native birds, and
They see us as an enemy.
There is so much good knowledge out there.
That's right. Marilee,
Yes.
you're saying that for your export overseas,
Yes.
you can buy birds off other people and export them?
Yes.
Because that's a huge difference. Do you have a CITES breeding program for your birds that you have to send
No.
out? That's the major difference between Australia and New Zealand is
Yep.
you got it so much easier.
Yeah.
Because in Australia, we can't export natives.
Yeah.
Well, neither can
But
you.
we can. That's why they come to us.
Yeah, well, that's it. You're making fantastic money out of selling our birds,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Why
is... And
I
I've
work
had...
hard at it.
I have, and I don't keep natives, but I've said this to the department when we went to Canberra once, that this is ridiculous. But anyway, that's another thing. In Australia, for everybody that doesn't know, for any of your exotics, you have to have a CITES-approved captive breeding program.
Yes.
Like I've got one, Brent and Kerry have got one for macaws. It's only for, you can have a CITES 1 captive breeding program, but that is a whole different kettle of fish. Priam, Daniel Gowland at Priam, they've got that for their double yellow-headed Amazons,
Yep.
but that limits to who they can sell to, zoos and that sort of thing. But for us, yeah, for us to get a CITES approved breeding program, they're getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
Wonder why, but anyway. And you have to be able to prove your bird's legal origin back to NEBRIS registered birds and the hoops that they make you jump through.
Yeah.
Like I could sell a bird overseas of Brent and Kerry's because they have a captive breeding program. I could buy that off them and then
yeah.
resell it. But that's the only way. But yeah, so it's just, you got it pretty easy, really, compared to, like, I'm not saying easy, but you know what I mean? You're lucky that they don't make you're allowed to sell other people's birds,
Yes.
which I think is great for aviculture.
yeah.
Whereas, so yeah, in Australia, we've sort of,
You know, all we have
got
to
another
do is
thing.
we have to, you have to apply to be an exporter, and you have
Yep.
to have a clean slate. And you know, they do check you out a bit. And then when you get approved, you just apply for a CITES, or you get your order from your overseas first.
Yep.
Then you
Yep.
apply for the CITES, and then you have to you put the birds in quarantine. But we used to have to write down where we got the birds from and their phone numbers and things like that. Well, they've stopped doing that. We just have to write down every bird that we've got, and we don't say where it's from. And yeah, no,
Right.
it's
Which
compared to yours, it's
it's
easy.
a good system. Like,
Yeah.
you know, in Australia, like really aviculture in Australia is going to hit the same as New Zealand. Not enough people, too many birds bred.
Yeah, yeah,
And, you know, they're making it hard. And Adrian Gallagher, like our vet, used to say before he retired, the future of aviculture in Australia for exotics is export. It should be
Yep.
for natives as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But he said they're
You're not going to be
gonna
able
happen.
to. Yeah, not.
Yeah, it's not
yeah.
going to happen
Yeah.
because the price of birds crash here. Something happens in the market, probably
Yeah.
in New Zealand as well.
Yeah.
Too many birds. People now can't sell their birds because they've bred them and nobody's got any money.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy with a lucrative industry for certain birds, only
Yeah.
certain birds. Would be great overseas, but it can't
Yeah.
happen. So,
You know,
but anyway,
when I first started exporting, I would pay $600 for a galah from the breeders. Now I'm looking at $1,500 because if it hadn't been for exporting these birds out of the country, they would have crashed and people would have stopped breeding them. As soon as the birds crash in price, they don't want to know about them anymore. And then the next thing, you've lost them. So, you know, Major Mitchells, we pay $8,000 for a pair of Major Mitchells. I bought that from the breeders. I pay $8,000 or $7,500. And that's only because, you know, we have sent so many out, it keeps the price up. It makes it worthwhile for some of the breeders to breed these birds.
you've added value to the price of birds.
We have, yeah, yeah. You get people saying, oh, bloody exporters. So, you know, they send all our birds out. But as soon as we didn't export, they're saying, when are you going to export again? We've got birds we need to sell. And it's, you know, so I just take no notice if they're going to whinge at me. I said, I don't buy birds for abuse, so I don't have to worry.
Surprise, surprise. Anyway, moving on, because you can talk, I tell you. As you can see on that last slide, the New Zealand Parrot Society and the Australian Parrot Society have developed a really strong connection with each other. And if we can get an opportunity to promote anything that Australians are doing, we will. And Mary Lee thought it would be a really good opportunity to promote what's coming up next year. And it might be a really good segue for Brent to continue. Thank you for listening, guys.
It was wonderful, Mary Lee and Mark. Thank you. No, I didn't hear anything. I could. Yeah. Look, just a little appreciation. Turn around so everyone can see you. Thank you for coming over, and much appreciated. And I'm sure you'll stay around for the barbecue, and there'll be plenty of time for more conversation. But everyone, put your hands together for Mary Lee. So thank you very much. Come in.
Me burble on about me here and listening to me burble on about, you know, what I love to do. But thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, before we do head out for the barbecue. Is Rod cooking it now? Is he? Okay. Oh well, you want to keep talking, Mary Lee? Stay here because I can't pronounce some of these names. You get your glasses on. So, on and off. What Tara sent through earlier for me, some updates for what we've got. We can announce so far for the Parrots 26, and there'll be more information come as we develop more of the program and the planning. But so far, we have some speakers confirmed. International, we have from our major sponsor again this year is Hari, which is really good that they've come back on. So they have they're going to be our major sponsor, and they've also sponsoring a speaker to come over. Is that is a speaker that is, how do you say it? Hugh. Hugh. It's Hugh. It's Hugh will be coming over. He's an international. Yeah. Yep. There you go. Apparently he's very well known over there. Haven't heard of him, but he comes with high credentials, and the people that in the industry that do know him, like other vets, are pretty chuffed that we're getting him over here. So that's will be great. Miguel Roche will be coming over, international. We have, I'm doing all right without glasses, Jennifer Taylor O'Connor, international.
Med.
I can't pronounce that.
Neither can I.
No. Med will be coming over.
Yeah.
When very soon we'll have their profiles put out, and you'll be able to read a little bit more about them. But we do have some, what's that, 4 or 5 internationals. Stephen Marvin from down south, Deborah Monks. We have a few more that we will still announce coming up, but there are a few initial ones. Hari, as I said, is the major sponsor. We have another sponsor, Brisbane Exotic Vets is going to be a sponsor. Veterinary Nutrition Solutions, Avon Essentials, Darling Down Zoo, Currumbin. So there's quite a few sponsors already come through, which is really, really good. And yeah. We do have a little bit of a lack of a better theme, lack of the better word. So that'll be announced when we start releasing some of these speakers. We've had a really good response to call for presenters, which was really good to see. And obviously we can't take everybody. Yeah. We didn't want her anyway. For starting, no. So it's been really pleasing that we've had a great response for the call presenters, and we've gone through them all. And because we've had a little bit of a theme, we've tried to piece together some speakers that will marry up with that and not have some crossover topics or ideal. There were some good topics, and we've tried to pick what we will think will be the best stream to go through. So yeah. Look, I can't read all that now. There'll be a lot of information coming out in the next month or so. Start sending some out, and some of these speaker bios. I think you've got you and Eva have got a few of these bios already. Yep. And no, I'm not. On and off, I can't see. So now we're just trying to fill in time until the barbecue. What do you know about Miguel?
Yeah, Miguel is one of our international speakers from Ohio, and Yeah, and he's quite a character on Facebook, etc. But he's also very, very open and willing to share his experiences. And he specialises in the rarer species of cockatoos in America, namely the palm cockatoo. And he's had immense success on the backs of people that have also helped him get to where he is today. He doesn't do it on his own. He's got hand rears that have developed formulas for that success as well. And he will acknowledge that. He's very, very open and transparent with the information. But he is actually looking forward to getting down here. He has never been to Australia before and promises to, give our money's worth. He's going to be doing, we think, 3 presentations, not just on palm cockatoo, but he's also a breeder of toucans and toucanettes and stuff like that. So it might be a bit interesting, bit of texture to the convention as well. So he's looking forward to getting here and sharing his experiences too. Quite a character. Stephen Marvin, he's on board too, is that correct? Stephen is from Victoria, a renowned aviculturist in terms of the smaller neophemas, specialising in mutations, and it's a nice balance of a variety of species that we can bring to people here in Brisbane next year. I think it's really important that we keep going for education in aviculture and just flying the flag of doing things right.
Yeah, and that's how we've sort of, even though I can't pronounce some of those names, that's how we've sort of put it together. And we've had contacts, like Mark has had Miguel as a contact, and some of our other people in the committee have put some of these other names forward and together as well. I was thought of something else I was just going to say, and it's I'm going like you, Mary Lee. Yes, definitely doing excursions.
We ready for the raffle?
I think so. Anyone want any tickets from Katie? Has anyone got any other questions? We probably can't answer them, but anyone want some raffle tickets?
All good.
Definitely. There is. All right. Well, look, thank you all for coming. Thank you for sitting through all that of Mary Lee's. No, that was really, really good, and for those who have been lucky enough to be there, which is a number of you, to Mary Lee's, it is a beautiful location, and I was fortunate enough to go there once or twice now, and yes, it's certainly like a little rainbow paradise or a rainforest oasis, I suppose. It's lovely. So, and I wish we could get some of those citrons over here because I do like them. So look, thank you all for coming. We will have barbecue, we'll have a yarn, catch up with Mary Lee. If we think of any more about these speakers, but yes, look, we'll be releasing some of this stuff. It is exciting. So I have read some of the bios of these people, and they are very interesting, and it will be a good collection of speakers that we do have lined up. So thank you all, and Jade's ready to go. You need to go to the loo, or do you need for a barbecue? Okay. All right. You come up and read their names, and we'll look. Thank you all, and we'll catch up with you at the barbecue. And grab your raffle tickets, and we'll do that. I don't know. Someone can hold the glasses on and off. You look at the crowd, and I'll look at that.